Hello, and welcome to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I am Beth Cooper.
I am Stacey Earlywine, and we're so happy to be with you doing another episode of By the Way with Beth and Stacey.
Yep.
I don't even know what episode we're on right now.
50-something.
50-something, because I was so excited about our 50th, because we, you know,
that
your
was
mom,
super fun. We loved that episode.
your mom made us that wonderful carrot cake.
Yeah.
That was a fun episode, yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it was, but just another fun thing about Clay County. If you're joining us for the first time, we do lots of history of Clay County. It seems like we haven't ventured out to other counties yet because Wabash has a wide audience. But right now we're focusing on Clay County because that's what we know. That's what I.
Right.
So where could they find us, Beth?
Well, we are on Wabash Catch TV, channel 100 at 11 a.m. daily. New episodes air on Thursdays and Fridays. And then we're also on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is By the Way with Beth and Stacey, and new episodes are added to YouTube on Mondays. And if you missed any of our past episodes, they're all there on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, it's fun.
You can also find us on Facebook at By the Way with Beth and Stacey.
And I think we have a billboard.
We do have a billboard. We're on a billboard in Effingham. So if you're in the Effingham viewing area, you can see us on the billboard. They're on kind of near Nuxles. What is that, Keller Drive?
Yeah, I think that's When if you're leaving Effingham and you're past Nuxles and then like right by that almost home, there's a billboard. You'll see Bruce is on it with us.
Yes,
Bruce Dickey's on it with us, and so that was exciting.
Yeah,
that was a fun. That was a fun day. Let's talk fall fashions a little bit.
Oh, okay.
I mean, what's your favorite? So I am a flip-flop girl, and when I'm working, I will wear my normal shoes, but then I work in flip-flops because I like those Crocs real well. They're real nice, and they don't make my feet hurt. But I'd say I love fall fashion more than I love anything.
I do too, because I love hoodies. I love flannels.
I love boots.
I like boots,
I
too.
like wearing boots. I don't know. I love fall fashion. And I bet, I don't know, there's just something, of course, we all like our, I feel like clothes in the summer are not as pretty because we really don't care because it's too hot.
Right.
But I think really people start really doing more.
Oh, right.
I think everybody looks better in the fall.
Yeah, and you can accessorize more. You carry more. You pair like a cute little purse with it or something, and the men out there are rolling their eyes. But I mean, as a woman, it's like more fun to dress for fall and winter than it is summer.
I haven't even been anywhere since the fall clothes. I wonder what the color is this year. I like my favorite's orange and yellow, and I love that mustard color. I think it's going to be pretty big this year.
Yeah,
I like when it comes around.
And I love like the hunter greens and the like reds. I like reds.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited. I don't know. I might venture off after this weekend. This weekend, the 8th and 9th is the Shadows of Elmwood Cemetery tour. So we literally won't be doing anything this weekend because we will be busy Friday and Saturday night. Yeah. Late. It's always late when we do that.
So, and
we're excited about our skit this year because this is the first time. How many years have we been doing this?
I think 10. I'm not sure.
And this is the first time Beth and I are in a skit together.
Yes. It's going to be fun.
It is going to be fun.
I'm so super excited about it. I think it's going to be
I'm excited about this one too because usually I'm playing some old lady or some crazy woman or some woman that's been murdered, and I actually get to look cute. And actually have a fun, cute.
Yeah, our skit is we're not going to give anything away, but our skit this year is going to be super fun. And
it is.
And our director, producer, Ty Landreth is also going to be there.
That's right.
And
Ty's by himself this year.
Oh, boy.
He is by himself.
That's fun to be by yourself.
I've been by myself twice, and I don't mind it because you're just telling the story. It's not like you have to hit a cue.
Right. Yeah. There are no cues. You just
I like this story. I like this story too because I don't have a lot of dates and names. Sometimes after you, I do that on this show. I could be looking at something here and I'll get it backwards.
Well, right. And I do write some of the skits for the show. And as a writer, we try to put the bare minimum of dates in our skits because
it's tough.
You need to know when it happened. You need to know this person was in the 1950s or the 20s or the 1800s or whatever. But you don't need to just every line have a date in it because first of all, the people watching, they don't absorb all of that.
They're not getting that. Yeah.
And it's too hard for the actors to remember all of that anyway. So.
The hardest one was when I played Amy Campbell. She was married 5 times in 5 different counties. So I literally had to know her Amy, Louisa, Dyer, blah, 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 blah. I can't remember now. So I told all of her names and each husband she was married to, what county and what date she was married to. Yeah, it was like...
That was a lot for you.
It was a lot, but did I conquer that?
Oh, yeah, you did.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I loved Amy Campbell.
Oh, yeah. And if you don't know who that is, go back to one of our earlier episodes. We cover women killers in Clay County. And she was a murderess.
She was.
And she murdered her husband. Yeah.
Yeah, tried to knock off a couple. Most of them escaped before she got... The last one didn't fare too well.
She was crazy.
She was.
Totally crazy.
She was crazy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was great.
Yeah. It was a fun character for Stacey to play.
The thing about it wasn't fun. She's my favorite character I've ever played. She really is. Except the one this weekend might be my favorite character. But Amy Campbell was my favorite. But I actually did her because she's not buried out at Elmwood. I actually portrayed her at the depot because sometimes when you're waiting in line, we'll have skits up there just so you'll be entertained before you get on the wagon to go to the cemetery. So they don't leave. So you'll do your skit and they're just sitting there. So you're just hanging out. And I don't know though because there were some people that would said, "Oh, you're crazy too. You're a perfect person for playing."
Oh yeah, then that kind of hurts your feelings.
You have crazy eyes, Stacey. Yeah, I no wonder they picked you for that.
Oh my goodness,
were you typecast?
People are harsh, man. No, she's just a good actress. She's not really crazy. Oh my!
But it was funny because people were like, "Oh yeah,
Jim, watch your back.
Jim, watch your back." Yeah, there'd be times that I love the. I like it whenever we first start doing the tour because you can see once it gets dark. Excuse me, we really don't know who's on the wagon because we got a spotlight.
Right.
But I like it when it's still daylight out and you can see who they are.
Right.
Yeah. And my favorite person to come through, and he comes through every year, is Randy Childers.
Oh yeah.
When Randy Childers and I have this relationship, and every time you'll notice when he pulls up, he'll get up and he'll be like, "Oh my God! Well, this is going to be good. This is going to be good. This is going to be a good skit." Yeah. And so Randy puts so much pressure on me right off the bat. Or he'll say, "Oh Lord, have mercy."
Yeah.
Another one of my favorites coming through is Darren Delaney.
Oh yeah.
When Darren Delaney comes through, he's like, oh, what's he always say? Oh, good night. Oh, good night, Mom. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh, good Lord, dear. He'll say to me. And but
some people that are on the wagon, I can't look at them. I'll look above them because otherwise I'll start laughing or I don't know.
Did I ever tell you about that? Well, I've had some really interesting where I've kind of went. Some people doing things on the wagon, when they pull up there, and there
should be a class on wagon etiquette before you take off. There's some people that don't sit quietly.
Yeah,
and I get it if you have a child, and it is family friendly. So this is an event you can bring your kids to, and we love the kids, even the kids that can't sit still.
I love the kids because they'll interact with us. Yeah.
Exactly. That's not the ones I'm talking about. I'm talking about the adults who talk in a very loud voice about something completely unrelated through the whole thing, while everyone else is trying to listen to the skits. That's a problem.
Well, you know how there's a certain period where it's dusk, you can still see, but yet, boy, in an instant it just goes dark on you. So I'm doing my skit, and I think I'm doing Myrtle Banhart.
Okay.
Myrtle was a good one too. It was about a rabies outbreak that happened in Clay County, and I'm doing Myrtle. And I get up I'm by myself, like Ty's going to be this weekend. And so the back part of the wagon, of course, gets up and stands up. And there's this really tall gentleman, and he's wearing a black T-shirt.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, and it looked like it had Marilyn Monroe's face on it.
Yeah.
On the black T-shirt. And my skit was, maybe 10.
They usually last 5 to 6 minutes.
5 to 6 minutes. In that period of time, it was dark. But by the time I was finished, it was dark. I mean, we just went right in that. So he came out, I'm like, man, I stand up, and I'm thinking, and his picture is like a glow in the dark.
Oh, no. So Marilyn's face was glowing in the dark at you?
Marilyn Monroe's face is glowing at me. So I get up, and I'm like, because I see it's really so bad. But then the more I do it, so I'm talking about my skit, and the more I look over at him, Marilyn Monroe's face, the darker it gets, is changing into a skeleton.
Oh, my gosh.
So it was one of them really weird.
That would have completely.
Oh, yeah. So I was just like, I'm like, oh, glowing Marilyn Monroe. Hello, my name is Myrtle. I can't remember this skit by no means. Yeah. And I start talking. I'm like talking and I'm presenting. I'm talking. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And then I'm like, and I'm buried right here.
Yeah. And I forgot everything else I was supposed to say. There's been a few times that people have done something in front of me that have completely made me lose my train of thought, and I have been completely flabbergasted and could not get. And luckily, I've had a person there with me that can say, okay, and you were saying,
I also
what just happened?
I also lost my time when there was a young lady sitting there and her baby got hungry.
Oh yeah, that's the one I'm thinking about.
So it was,
and I am all for breastfeeding. I am a proponent of that, and I also believe that you can do it in public, and I'm also okay with that. But I also believe in certain situations, it's best to have a little blanket or cover you. Especially if someone in front of you is trying to give a performance, and both of everything's showing, everything's out, both sides,
everything's happening right now.
And the baby's not even at your breast; the baby's down here on your lap, but you're still sitting there with both of them out. I don't know what to say to that. I'm sorry, that did happen, and it took my lines. It just, I was like, "What is even happening?"
It did happen. It did happen. And so, anyway, but we're going to get to our
let's start the show like we should with an ad, because we're all talking about the cemetery tour.
Well, so I picked up a couple things from the Flora Journal Record, a newspaper, and I decided to do ads from our own time, or in Flora. So I've got 4 of them here, and I think they're they're just quick little ads. Ty, go ahead. So the first one we've got G.W. Campbell, physician and surgeon, Flora, Illinois, X-ray diagnosis, hospital service, and registered nurse in attendance. And the phone's residence 348, office 343. So I'm thinking that's really kind of interesting because, when was the last time you ever heard a physician? When is the physician ever advertised like that? Huh. The next one is E.A. Hopkinson's dentist. We covered dentists once. Office over the First National Bank.
Oh.
Both phones, Flora, Illinois. Both phones. What does that mean?
What does that mean? Both phones?
I don't know. Then the next one is H.W. Goodpaster, chiropractor, Flora, Illinois. Office hours 9 to 11, and then a.m. and then 2 to 6:30 p.m. Phone 128.
I get the phone 128. You just had to dial 128.
Okay.
But both phones.
Both phones.
It's almost like there was maybe two lines that were party lines or something. You could get him on either one of them. I don't know.
I thought that was interesting. And then, of course, C.W. McVeigh, auctioneer, Flora, Illinois, Route 2, People's Phone.
I'm so confused. What year was this?
This is in 1925.
Okay. People's Phone.
People's Phone.
I don't know. I bet Don Thomas could tell us.
Yeah, Don Thomas, I know you're going to be watching.
Yeah.
Somebody explain to us, what is that?
What does that mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I was looking at those. I'm like, those are unusual.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But anyway, we'll take a quick commercial break and be back with our wonderful episode.
At your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville, you can count on experts to have the solutions to keep you running on the road or in the field. More than just your car, the Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville carry a large inventory of Napa products for farms, heavy trucks, and just about everything that moves. Experienced associates understand your needs and are ready to help with the perfect part at a great value. That's Napa Know-How at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville. Briscoe Surplus Sales on the northeast edge of Flora is your one-stop do-it-all shop. Looking for rugged boots and footwear from great brands like Lacrosse, Rocky, and Carolina? They're there. How about top-notch small engine parts and service? Briscoe Surplus Sales has it. Whether you're wiring your switches or switching your wiring, Briscoe Surplus Sales has the solution and the know-how to help you get the job done right the first time. Briscoe Surplus Sales, your one-stop do-it-all shop.
We like technology at Flora Savings Bank. Here's what you can accomplish in our mobile banking app in less than 30 seconds. See account balances in your transactions, set up an account alert, make a transfer between accounts, get an alert text message about your transfer, pay a bill, turn your debit card off and then back on. It all happens in the palm of your hand with our free My Bank to Go app. Search My Bank to Go in the App Store or Google Play and give mobile banking a try. Flora Savings Bank, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Jimmy ordered lumber, doors, paint, windows, electrical, plumbing, and much more. Oh yeah, give me all your guns too.
John Lucas.
What?
You better be dreaming about all the stuff we sell here at Zink Building Center.
Oh, I would. Zink Building Center in Louisville on Route 45. It's a cool place.
And welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I'm Beth Cooper.
I am Stacey Earlywine, and we have an unusual show today. Mm-hmm. I wanted to talk a little bit about the Undertakers.
Yeah, no one ever talks about them.
No.
They were busy.
We
know that because we did the episode on everybody dying, which, of course, death, there's always death. But back then, there seemed to be a lot more of it. People didn't live as long.
Yeah, I'm shocked, like back in the day, how many different funeral parlors and funeral directors we had. Mm-hmm. So I thought, well, that might be a fun episode to do on Undertakers. So, and I don't know, they never run out of clients, I guess you could say. We're all that's just one. It takes a very special person to be able to do that job. You're dealing with not only just the difficulty of preparing, but you're dealing with like so many emotions. And even today's Undertakers, I think, even have it even worse because there's so many torn families, and so many steps and this and that. I mean, there's a lot to be said for coroners and undertakers really have a stressful 24/7, 7-day-a-week job.
Sure they do. I admire them very much for doing that job.
I do too. And just to always just be so cool. Well, first of all, before we get into it, I just want to talk about some of the funerals homes that were around. And I got these. John Baylor is a friend of By the Way with Beth and Stacey, and we use John Baylor a lot. John Baylor is wonderful at doing research for us. We also use Don Thomas a lot. Don helps us. He has Rena Lentz Thomas was his wife, and so. But I would just want to give them shout out because they do help us a lot. And these things that I'm going to read off came from John Baylor. There was Wilson and Burgett Funeral Home in Sailor Springs. Phone 17. The ad says, quality, price, and service. Our low overhead expenses enables us to offer to the people of Clay County a large saving on funeral prices. Display rooms. They also have, the Wilson and Burgett was in Sailor Springs, Bible Grove, and Wendelin. And it also, get this, was interesting, free ambulance service to nearby hospitals. That's kind of so interesting, isn't it? Free ambulance service to nearby hospitals. So I'm assuming back in the day, maybe they, well, I don't know if ambulances.
So there probably wasn't a county ambulance. So the funerals homes might have had ambulances, and they would hope that you would call their ambulance, and then if you didn't make it, they would get your business.
Yeah, it's got to be something like that.
There had to be something in there for them.
Yeah,
and that, I mean, there's surely something in it for them, and if there is, it would have to be that they wanted your business when you did die, so you can remember that free ambulance ride you had.
That's right. Then there's a funeral home in Louisville. I'm going to talk about a couple of them. Dennis Funeral Home, Louisville, Illinois, phone 187. Excuse me. Our good name. We're proud of our fine reputation for dignified service at low cost, and dedicate ourselves to meriting the. Gosh, Beth, I need you to do this. Okay. To meriting the continued patronage of Louisville people. So that was a funeral home there in Louisville. Okay. Dillman Funeral Home, because you have Dillman Funeral Home that was in Sailor Springs, and then they have their cemetery. Right. Dillman Funeral Home. The drama of sorrow is the most intense of any of the occurrences of the stage of a family life. Knowing this, we have opened our modern yet home-like funeral home as an institution of community service, hoping that in some small measure we might soften grief with beauty. By providing for every comfort and convenience at a cost which anyone can afford, we do our best to serve in your hour of sorrow. Ambulance, day or night, phone 196.
So they also had an ambulance.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was, the drama of sorrow is the most intense of any occurrences of.
Do you think they use the same vehicle for this ambulance and the hearse?
I don't know. That's crazy. Now, here's. This one is another ad for the Wilson Burkett Funeral Home.
Okay, where was it at?
It's the one we did. They have one in Sailor Springs.
Oh, okay, right.
Sailor Springs, Bible Grove. Literally, anchors away. The Wilson and Burkett Funeral Service will continue to offer the people of Clay County the same service, lower prices, and quality merchandise as heretofore, while one member Plus H. Wilson is serving in the U.S. Navy.
Oh, okay. So one of the owners
went
away to the
Navy. Anchors
away. Okay.
Wilson and Burkett Funeral Home. After all, it can be said in very few words. Quality service, lower prices. 24-hour, there's that 24-hour free ambulance service to local hospitals. Better attention given to embalming. Complete display rooms, Sailor Springs, and Bible Grove. But yeah, I saw that and I'm like, Wilson and Bright Funeral Home. Anchors?
Anchors away, folks.
I don't know. Something just, that kind of caught my eye.
Yeah.
I thought that was really, I don't know. I thought that was just kind of a neat.
Yeah.
I thought that was a neat. And then I came across, and I really wanted to find some interesting things about this. I've got a picture. This was sent to me by Marianne Ayers. She sent it to me. And there was, in 1915, on the west side of the square in Louisville, Benjamin Frank Glardon, B.F. Glardon Undertakers. Let's show that picture, Ty. Yeah, so this was on the west side. His name was Benjamin. His real name was Benjamin Franklin Glardon, but he went by B.F. Glardon Undertaker. So that's him right there with his little bow tie on. I love that. That's really cool.
Yeah,
and then
that's cute.
There is a picture of, go to the next picture. So this is why, the next picture is really why I wanted to do, because this is what, we have hearses today, but in 1915, look at this picture.
Wow.
You got the funeral director with there's the coffin back there, and you see the lantern for light right next to his left arm.
Oh, yeah, I see that.
There's a lantern, and then I always find it interesting because this still happens, like when you're talking royalty.
Yeah.
Because, see, that coffin is open. And it's got the curtains where you can open them up where people could actually view the body as it was going by.
Oh my gosh.
Now, and then they could close it if I went for my research, they did leave that there because then the body would be there. Like people, if you were an important person, they would take you through your city town.
Oh, really?
And then your body would be inside there and people could.
Wowzers.
And I know in royalty, that's what they did that. Now they, of course,
Yeah. I knew that they sometimes put them on a carriage. I didn't realize it was open.
Yeah. Yeah, those are just curtains. So they could close the curtains if they wanted to take the body, or they could actually open those curtains up if people wanted to view the body as they were going in town to the cemetery. But that's literally, and that is Benjamin Frank Glardon.
Okay, that's him
He is buried in Louisville. But I couldn't hardly find any more information on him.
Oh, okay. Which cemetery is he buried?
The one that's out there when you're going out of town. What's that one? I just went blank.
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Orchard Hill or something Hill?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I don't know, but I thought that was a really neat. And that's why I'm like, ooh, let's do Undertakers because I think that would be really interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
So, and of course, we have our funeral homes today, but yeah, it's kind of interesting. I was going to talk about the the Hostleton book out, Engelmeyer. I did talk to Brandy Newby. Her father was Mike Engelmeyer, and they lived in that. But that was the Orchardville. But in order to do that story, I was more or less talking about the building,
the Orchard City College,
which then ended up being a funeral homes in the past, and because I do love that building, and
just think how much that whole industry has changed through time.
Right.
Like, it would be, I don't know anything about like the actual embalming or anything like that, but think about like the chemicals and stuff they used and how it's probably gotten so much better.
Well, let's just talk before we go to commercial break. You know, there's that old saying, "Saved by the Bell." Dead ringer.
Yes, yeah.
And the reason why it's safe, so like before they were embalming people, a lot of people that weren't dead were buried.
Like you went into a coma
or something. They thought you were dead. So that's what would happen. So in the beginning, they would bury people, and they would tie a rope on their finger, and it would go up through the coffin, and outside on top of the ground, there would be bells. And if you woke up and you were buried, you'd ring, and that way for a month afterwards, people every night, that's where night shift comes from.
Oh my gosh.
The term night shifts come from, because if you're working the night shift, you're going to sit out at the funeral home by somebody who was buried to listen to see if they ring the bell, if they're not really dead. That's where the term night shift comes from.
Oh my.
And so that's where Saved by the Bell. So if you ring the bell, if you're not dead and you woke up and you ring the bell, the night shift worker is going to be there. That's Saved by the Bell. And Dead Ringer. That's where Dead Ringer comes from. Yeah. And it's kind of interesting. I was thinking like on Samuel White's, in that one area where Samuel White's buried, the founder of Flora. There's that one really neat cast iron that's really old. And I think at one time on one of those stakes there might still be a bell there.
I think there's a bell there.
I think there's still a bell there.
I think there is a bell out there. I've seen it.
Yeah, I think there is a bell there, but that's where Dead Ringer comes from, Saved by the Bell, and Night Shift comes from. Well, the other thing is so then even after that, the term wake was whenever somebody would die and they would leave the body in homes. A lot of times. And so that was called a wake because they would lay them out there and for 2 or 3 weeks after the body to make sure they didn't wake up. That's what the term wake comes from.
Well, I did not know that one either. I wondered why it was called a wake.
If you have a wake. So everybody would sit there and that's why a lot of bodies were at home, because then the family would sit by.
Which, I mean, there were other times you knew the person was actually dead, and I would be a little uncomfortable with them being in my house that long.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Because it's just the grief is so strong, and you're sad, and then you just keep seeing it in front of you.
I can't even fathom it today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't either. But yeah, so fun, interesting terms.
Very interesting.
Yep. Night shift. Yep. Yep.
I'll be
pretty
darned.
cool. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to get into our next Undertaker.
If you're looking for a loan for your brand new home, call Clay County State Bank. If you want to transfer money so your future will look sunny, call Clay County State Bank. We got checking and savings and bill pay too.
An online banking, just ask our crew. For all your banking needs, we think you will agree.
Clay County State Bank is the place you need to be. Clay County State Bank.
At Clay City Banking Company, we're all on the same team, regardless of zip code. At home, work, school, or across the country, you can be part of our team with our cutting-edge mobile banking products. From your hand, you can check balances, transfer money, make deposits, and pay bills. Looking for a loan? We've got you covered with our mortgage, agriculture, commercial, and consumer loans. Join our team today. Clay City, Flora, Louisville, and Fairfield Banking Companies. We're the hometown banks, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
It's the weekend and your symptoms are worsening. The morning of a big meeting and you have a bigger sore throat. Ever experienced that urgency after picking up your sick child and your community health center has already closed? You will be able to connect to a provider at crhpc.org. Even if you have never been to CRHPC, you are welcome to utilize our services. Feel better after scheduling a video visit with CRHPC.
Tomorrow, Some fear the uncertainty it brings. Some trust the promise it holds. At Grinnell Mutual, we are always looking forward to tomorrow, growing and innovating. So even if the plans you have for the future aren't the same as the plans that the future holds for you, you can be ready. Because we'll be ready, like we have been for over 100 years. Trust in that. Trust in tomorrow. Talk to your mutual agent today.
Your local agent is on the square. Louisville, Clay County Farmers Mutual Insurance.
And welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. Today we are discussing Undertakers.
We are, and we mentioned just a few of the Undertakers and some of the ads that they had. And as I was going through, I came across a man named George W. Campbell. Okay. And when I started reading about this, it's a very fascinating story. It's George. I got to be careful because there's George Sr., his dad, and George W., the son.
Okay.
Because we're going to talk about both of them at the same time here a little bit. But George W. Campbell's family history. George W. Campbell was the great-great-grandfather of Mary Campbell Bunnell.
Oh, okay.
Dr. Don Bunnell's wife. This is her family we are talking about. Okay. So George W. Campbell was born in West Virginia, August 18th, 1843, to George and Letitia Wilcox Campbell. Okay. His mother was a native of Pennsylvania. His grandparents on his father's side were of Scottish-Irish descent and came to this country from Scotland. Okay? So George W. Campbell, his dad was George, and his mother was Letitia. This is where it gets interesting. So the Civil War breaks out, okay? And we're in West Virginia. He hasn't come to Clay County yet, so we're still in West Virginia where the story takes place. George Sr., his dad, George Sr., the Civil War breaks out, and George Sr. joins the Southern cause.
Okay.
George Sr. becomes part of the Confederate cavalry. Okay. George W., the son, was a member of the 1st Virginia, later the 9th Virginia Volunteers, who supported the Northern Banner and had to fight against his father and all of his relatives.
Oh, my.
So you're talking George Sr. was supporting the Confederates. George W., George Jr., was supporting the Union side of things.
Okay.
And so he's fighting against all of his family.
Wow.
Okay. This guy was great. During his service, he was in 33 battles.
Oh, my
We're talking about
gosh.
George Jr., George W. He was in 33 battles and received 2 shots and a saber cut, and also a prisoner at Belle Island for 3 months.
Oh, my gosh.
He belonged to Dick Blaser's body of scouts till all about 12 out of 110 men had been killed when they returned to the regiment. He was also, so George Jr. was handpicked from the 9th Virginia Volunteers to protect the Union supply lines and combat Confederate guerrilla parties. So he must, if you're handpicked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a strong soldier.
He was a very, very strong, he was a strong soldier. Okay, so once again, he's fighting for the North, Dad's fighting for the South. The last year of his service, and I need to say, so once he joined the Union, when he did not believe what the Confederates were doing, once he joined the Union, his family completely disowned him. His entire family didn't want to have, his father, George Sr., was a prosperous farmer. And after, in West Virginia, and after he joined the Union, they forbid him to ever return to the farm. He was exiled from the family.
That's sad.
It is. The last year of his service, he was in the command of General Phil Sheridan. During his service, he, George Jr., was at the capture of his father.
Oh, my.
Okay? So his father is now a prisoner and has been captured by the Union Army. He was allowed to offer his father his freedom. Only thing the father had to do was requiring the oath of allegiance. So, okay, Dad, here you are. You're captured. The Confederacy's going down.
Yeah.
All you need to do is really have an allegiance oath to the Northern Army, and he refused. His father refused to take the oath and was sent to a prison camp in Rock Island, Illinois, and he died there. So because he did not, I mean, it's just crazy to me that's how it was.
You believe in something, you believe in it, I guess. But
I agree. Yeah.
Wow.
So at this point now, so his father died. His mother inherits the farm, and he's exiled. So the war is over. You're in West Virginia. You're this great guy. You're exiled from your family. Where would you go?
Flora, Illinois?
Xenia.
Xenia.
Yes.
Okay.
In 1866 or early 1867, George W. Campbell came to Xenia, Illinois, and began learning the carpenter's trade. Okay, which occupation he followed in the capacity of contractor and builder till 1881. So in 67, let's just say 1867, he comes to Xenia, and for about 14 years he becomes a carpenter. Then after that, after 14 years, he enters the undertaking business and furniture business. Okay. How exciting is that?
Undertaking and furniture.
Yeah. So he is, after the war, he moved there. He was penniless when he came. He learned painting, carpentry, cabinet making, undertaking, furniture business.
What a go-getter.
What a go-getter, right?
And after all that he's seen and dealt with, and I mean, I do believe that soldiers have PTSD, and it was probably not diagnosed back then, but he went through 33 battles?
33 battles.
And been to all of these battles and saw his dad taking all of these things, and then he's just like, home, and I'm going to be a hard worker. I'm going to start this and this and this and this, and I do all of these things. And just
and
don't
forget, he was shot twice.
Yeah.
And a saber cut. What's a saber? Is that a sword?
It's kind of like a sword,
It must be some sort of sword. And captured. Prisoner of war. Gets out of that situation. I can't imagine. I love reading about the Civil War.
People were so strong.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, he's a very strong man. I don't mean just physically. I mean mentally and
because
emotionally.
And he's not married at this time. He goes through all this stuff, and then he didn't get married. He came to he doesn't get married till 1874.
Wow.
On September 6, 1874, he married Addie Morris. She was the daughter of R.S. and Jane Smith Morris. They have one son. His name is William Walter, and he was born in 1875. William Walter Campbell was a licensed embalmer and was associated with his father in business. Okay? Then it goes on about everything that they all the family history.
And they all stayed in Xenia.
So that's what we're going to do.
Is that where he's buried then?
Yes. I'm going to get into that a little bit. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, I get excited too when we're talking. I'm always jumping ahead. What's next? But anyway, so show that picture of the family. This is who we're talking about. So this is the business of George W. Campbell, funeral director and coffin maker. See, there are coffins up on the top. In Xenia, this is in 1885.
I wonder what the address was.
I'm not sure. Mr. Campbell is shown standing on the second-story door with a hammer in his hand. So that's Mr. Campbell. That's George William Campbell standing on the top. And then there's a little fella. It doesn't say who's. You see him to the right. It's like he's yelling at that guy sitting on the job. So that's... that's who he was, and that's his business. So it really came into, because I wonder if that building's still there. We'll have to do some research on that. But so that's all of his family. That's his work. I love the guys. I love these old pictures.
Yeah, and their vests and everything. They're so cute.
They're adorable, and I love it. That's a beautiful building. So this is so they not only were the embalmers and the undertakers, they built your coffin.
Yeah.
So that's where all that woodwork, that furniture making came in hand. But if you can look really close, he's standing up there. George is standing up there, and he's got a hammer in his right hand. Yeah, and then all the guys is like, hey, I love the little fella in the door. There's a guy just leaning up against the door. Look how and then there's this gentleman over here to the right, and he's standing there and he's just holding his jacket.
Yeah, they're very posed.
They're so posed.
It's like the photographer was like, knew exactly what she wanted them all to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if anybody is in Xenia.
I bet that building's gone. It does not look at all familiar to me.
Unfortunately, it probably is.
Mm-hmm. But you never know. It might be there. Maybe somebody remodeled it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's one of those that's downtown on the Strip that they've turned into something else.
Yeah. I don't know, but I think he's super cool.
Yes.
So, Mr. Campbell, he was a member of the Baptist Church.
Okay.
He was a member of the Masonic fraternity. He was mayor of Xenia.
Wow.
He was an alderman in Xenia. He died November 24th, 1921.
Okay.
He was 77 years old, and he is buried at the Oddfellows Cemetery in Xenia.
Okay.
And if you want to, you can look him up, and it talks about his entire story.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What a cool guy.
I loved this story. I'm not going to lie. This was like literally one of my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite.
Okay, and then this is a side note, but Amy Campbell, the murderess, she was from Xenia, correct?
Yep.
So I wonder if, and Campbell was one of her married names, right?
Yes.
So I wonder if she married one of his descendants.
I don't know, because if she married one of his descendants, he's dead. She's the one he killed. He's the one she killed.
Mm.
Amy Louisa. Louisa was her maiden name.
Mm.
Amy Louisa Dyer something.
I think
Campbell.
Louisa was her middle name, right?
Louisa?
And
Louisa, I don't know.
And Dyer was her maiden name, I think.
Amy Louisa Dyer. She married a Dyer.
Oh, she did?
Yeah, she married a Dyer.
Then, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm going to have to look up that.
It doesn't matter. That was a side note. Keep talking about that guy.
But yeah, and then it goes on about the lineage of this, and then it gets a little bit crazy because I do find it like confusing. I'm just going to read a little bit in this book, and I love this book. I got this book, Xenia Then and Now, 1834 to 1984, and I love this. Is like one of my favorite books, but this is where I get confused. You would probably so. Let's just go here. Okay, William Campbell was licensed in he was married to Ada Carson on March 1st, 1899, and then it goes to when the day they died. He and his wife continued to run the furniture store located south of the railroad until the mid-1950s. They were the parents of 3 children, Mildred, Ralph, and Leslie, but it's like Mildred 3/23, 1908, Ralph 3 then his death, and lots of numbers. Mildred married Henry Sheffield.
Okay.
Ralph married Hazel Henson, daughter of Seymour and Emma Henson. They were the parents of 2 children, George and Mary. So Mary, Mary Bunno, Mary Campbell.
Yeah.
And so her brother's name was George after great-grandpa.
Cool.
Leslie married Janelle Presley, daughter of Jackson and Ruby Presley. They were the parents of a daughter, Carol, as it just goes on.
Yeah.
Carol Ann, and she was married to Gerald Valiancourt. George E. Campbell, son of Ralph and Hazel Campbell, was married to Sandy Williams, and to this union was born Craig Matthew and Clayton Andrew. Mary C. Campbell married Donald Bunnell, and to this union was born Mary Emily and John Campbell. So John Bunnell's John Campbell Bunnell.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that's where I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then it just keeps. Oh,
what a great
we
guy.
need to take a commercial break.
Oh gosh, yeah, we'll be back.
Do you bowl like this? That's great. Do you bowl like this? That's great too. That's because whether you're a pro or you just want to have a lot of fun, at Peggle's Silver Dollar Lanes, we have a lane for you. We have galaxy bowling, gaming for kids and adults, Joe's Pizza, a full bar, darts, pool, and fresh and clean bowling shoes. Boy, does that smell nice. So come on down to Peggle Silver Dollar Lanes in Effingham, where we have a lane for you.
My name is Robin Stanford. I own Stanford Marketing. It's a promotional products business along with an embroidery business. And we do custom hats, t-shirts, anything, you name it, we can make it. People like that we do stuff in-house and we can actually make things here and that we're not contracting the work out to other places. We never say no. We always try to find a way to do it. If anybody can do it, we can do it. We are hardworking women, that is for sure. Come to Stanford Marketing in Florida for all your custom and promotional needs.
The insurance specialists have options to tailor to your needs at CSI Insurance Brokers. Experienced insurance brokers at CSI are skilled with all types of insurance plans and policies and represent many companies, including Safeco Insurance. You'll benefit from their detailed expertise, unbeatable premiums, and commitment to customer service. CSI Insurance Brokers and Safeco Insurance Company, providing affordable rates on quality insurance since 1952.
For over 50 years, at your locally owned and operated Rural King Supply in Salem and Olney, we've helped you and your neighbors enjoy an easy country lifestyle. We carry the most thorough sporting goods department around with a huge variety of hunting and fishing gear, camping equipment, and a variety of firearms for any need. Our team is here to help you find whatever you need. Open every day, it's Rural King in Salem and Olney, your locally owned farm and home store.
Okay, welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. So we have been discussing Undertakers and the county's history and the cool guy over in Xenia.
Mr. Campbell.
Yeah, Mr. Campbell. We're kind of going to switch gears a little bit because there's something else that I wanted to talk about in today's episode, and that is the Hoosier Prairie Baptist Church.
Oh, cool.
And they are getting ready to celebrate 170 years.
Wow, that's wonderful.
I mean, that's
awesome.
I don't know for sure if it's the oldest church in Clay County, but I would say it's one of the oldest for sure.
I can't remember. We did churches, but I can't remember.
Well, we didn't cover any of the country ones. So
no,
so this Hoosier Prairie started in 1853.
Wow.
So that's really early because like Florist churches in the town of Florida didn't get started until 1854, 1855.
Right. Yeah. So you're right.
Its churches started going. So this was really early. So if you're not familiar with Hoosier Prairie Baptist, it is in the northern part of our county and in the eastern part of the county, kind of the northeast. To get there, have you ever been there? You kind of got to cut through the country.
You know what? Maybe. I don't know.
Basically, if you're on the Louisville Blacktop between Louisville and Sailor Springs, you go, I should have looked all this up before I started talking, but almost all the way over closer to Sailor Springs, and then you go back north and you wind your way through. It's a beautiful drive. So for those of you that don't live in that area, but you maybe want to visit the church or drive by it, it is a beautiful drive. Mm-hmm. Like, it is a really pretty part of Clay County. It just kind of, it's a windy road, and you just kind of go back there. And then, Ty, do we have a picture of this church? Yeah. So there it is.
It looks familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is the Hoosier Prairie, and then you can see they have an addition there on the building. But that
now is that the original? Is that the church? Is that the church?
That is I think their second building. I think I don't have that right in front of me. I might get to it in a minute.
With the farmland in front of it. I love that picture. That's a really cool picture.
Yeah, they celebrated their centennial in 1953. And then it says that it began on a Saturday in June of 1853. A meeting was held originally at the home of Brother John Conley, who at that time lived a quarter mile west and north of the former Johnson School. I think maybe the Cammon family might currently own that. But when they were asking about starting this church, they said, what shall the new church be named? And someone arose and said, how about Hoosier Prairie Baptist? And they're like, okay, that works. And that's what they decided. I would love to know if there were other names thrown out at that meeting.
Oh, I would too.
It doesn't say. Yeah. But yeah, they started the church way back in 1853. They met while the church was being built. They continued to meet at a home. I have pages and pages on the history of this church, but I'm just kind of trying to break it down into just little bits that you guys might find interesting. So at the September meeting in 1853, a man named Brother Crawford Irwin was chosen as agent for the church to purchase a site for the church to be built on, preferring the 10 acres where the Irwin Cemetery is located. So, and I believe that is the piece of property that they chose to build on there by the cemetery. So, let me just rifle through. I don't know who their current minister is, but I do know that my uncle Tim Van Dyke, he was the minister there for the last few years.
Is he still? He's
there,
not.
No, they moved away. Tim and Lori moved down.
Where'd they move to?
They moved down by DuQuoin.
Really? Now, when you move away, you're not supposed to move Southern Illinois. You're supposed to move to Florida.
Yeah, no, they moved to be closer to
grandchildren. I bet.
Grandchildren, yes. Mm-hmm. So
that's a reason why I'll never leave Clay County. Mm-hmm. My sweet angel babies.
There we go. Yeah. So it said that they have the cemetery there, the Hoosier Cemetery. The first person to be buried there was William Irwin, the father of Crawford Irwin. And let's see, the trustees had no deed for the ground. Yeah. So some of this stuff I don't think, is important to the story unless you're maybe a member there. But still, 170 years, that is a really long time for the church to stay intact, because a lot of times churches kind of fade away, or they join another congregation, or they, change their name, or some big change has come about, But this group has stayed the course.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's kind of a neat.
Yeah, and they are. They have a pretty large.
When is their
congregation?
So what is this? Okay, so they've already done their centennial.
Yeah, that was in 1953.
170 years.
This is 170 years, and I don't know that there's a name for for 170th anniversary, but I do know that.
Do you have family? Do you have family that go there now?
I do. I don't. I believe, but there's a lot of Hildebrands that go there. Raj and Nina Stockwell, I think they're a friend of yours. Yeah. They're in the book.
Raj is in there?
Yeah,
That's right. His mother goes there.
Joyce Stockwell, Stanley's, Doug and Kim Smith, Hembreys, more Hildebrands.
You've got that church directory book. When was when was the last time? We both go to First Christian. When was the last time?
And for those of you not familiar with it, this is a directory, a church directory, and you can see members, pictures, and names. And a lot of churches offer these for their members.
I remember doing it when Jim and I went to the Clay City United Methodist Church, and they did a church directory. And then I don't know if First Christian's ever done one. I've been going to First Christian.
Oh, yeah. First Christian's, I've been in several different ones at First Christian.
How long have you been going to First Christian in Flora?
Well, I've been a true member of it since 2008 or 9. But, before then, when I was little, that's where we went to church. I went with my parents, and then my grandparents always went there. And so when I lived away, we would come.
I think I've been
to church there off and on.
I think I've been going to the First Christian Church for probably this is either 19 or 20 years.
So you've been in a directory, Stacey.
I like the directories. I love the directories because then you can I lose track of who people are.
Well, and it's nice to put a name with a face.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes you're like, I always see that guy at church. He has the brown hair and the glasses, and you're like, that could be 10 different people. But then you look in your directory, and you're like, okay, I know who that is.
What kids running around crazy belong to what people?
Yeah, I have so many pages here. I should have been a little bit more organized, but I highlighted something about it, and I can't find the page that I highlighted, but it was a interesting tidbit about their building when they built it.
I still love whenever I'm walking into church. I usually get to our church about 8:00, get ready for worship time, and I love hearing the the Methodist Church's bells ring.
Oh yeah, I love
there is nothing more beautiful than walking into church on a beautiful summer, fall, whatever day, and hearing those bells ring.
Yes.
I absolutely love it. Now,
love it
Jim
too.
is the minister at the First Church of Flora, and they go out and ring their ding. They still go out and ring their bell.
Oh, okay.
When I was over at the United Methodist Church at Clay City, right, where they always ding, rang the bell. But it's a music. It's like the Methodist Church is a beautiful medley.
Yes, like sometimes
melody.
it's Victory and Jesus.
Yes.
They have different ones that plays. It's beautiful.
I'll have to ask Mark Smith exactly. Yeah, that's really. I love that about that. Yeah, it's great.
It does say in June of 1899, a committee was called to examine the condition of the church. The committee reports that the church house was beyond repair. And after much talking, a motion was made in a second to build a new church house. So that is the second building was built around 1900. And it was dedicated on June the 17th of 1900. And I think that, this is the same church building today that was in that picture. So that original part that had the steeple, that was built in 1900. So that part is really old. I mean, that's older than our depot.
Wow.
So
That's
it's pretty cool that they've kept.
That is neat.
They've kept the everything together, the building
I love it.
and their ministries and everything. So
Yeah,
anyway,
that's kind of neat.
Yeah, that was submitted by Kim Smith, who watches the show. So if
There
you
you go.
have an idea to submit to our show, something that you would like for us to cover, you can always reach us on Facebook or Gmail, by the way, with Beth and Stacey at gmail.com. So you got something to end our show?
Well, you handed me this little Random Verses by Everett Maxwell, published by the author, Louisville, Illinois.
Yes, that came with this church history.
Yeah, this is really neat. So I was just thumbing it. It's just random verses. So I thought this was good since we were talking about Undertakers. So this little random verse is, say it today. Come not when I am dead and say, I loved him. If you love, say it today.
Oh, that's
not
good.
when I am dead, but while I live. I need the love and sympathy which you can give.
Oh, that's good. If you love someone, tell them. Don't wait till they're dead.
Right.
Yeah.
My Uncle Harold Hemphill
boy.
always said, oh, my God. My Uncle Harold was the best, and my dad's brother. And Harold, we always talk about whenever he was alive, funeral. He said, don't come see me when if you can't come see me when I'm alive, don't come see me when I'm dead. Yeah, so that was Uncle Harold. That would be something he would say
then, huh?
Yeah, and
there's truth to that, though.
Yeah,
you don't want to wait too long.
And it's so funny. My Uncle Harold, he was like, Stacey, when I die, I want you to sing "I Left My Heart in San Francisco." I said, well, Uncle Harold, have you ever been there? Nope.
Why? Why did he pick that song?
Just liked the song.
He just liked that song. Did you sing it, or is he still alive?
No, Uncle Harold's passed away. He's been gone for a while. Yeah, I didn't actually. I don't know why I didn't sing. I couldn't. I couldn't sing my Uncle Harold, and that was before we pre-recorded. But I whispered, "I left my heart in San Francisco." So I just up there in his coffin, just a little bit. Because, but yeah, Uncle Harold, he was a veteran, war veteran, wore his war veteran hat every time you saw him with his thing on it, and they called him Deacon, had Deacon on it, and he always had a cigar. My Uncle Harold was Archie Bunker to a T. One of the greatest men I've ever wanted.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, my Uncle Harold was phenomenal. He was that old grumpy soul, heart as big as Texas. Most of the Hemphill men were like that. They were loud and they were brash and they were but they were the biggest teddy bears, biggest lovers you'd ever.
That's good.
Uncle Harold.
Yeah.
Well, that was meant for Uncle Harold today.
Well, good.
That was awesome.
Good deal. So that was a fun show. So thank you for joining us. If you have time, come see us this weekend, September the 8th and the 9th at the Shadows of Elmwood in Flora. The trailers take off from the historic B&O Depot, and we'll be there in costume.
You will love it. It's a good time, and it's not scary.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.
God bless you. Have a good day.